We recently celebrated the birth, life, and work of a great man, Martin Luther King, Jr. His life was dedicated to helping the United States live up to its promise and potential. Just about a week or so earlier, another man's work was on display. Donald J. Trump, who had spent the previous 2 months trying to reverse the results of a Democratic election through over 60 bogus court cases, invited supporters who believed his lies to attack the Capitol to stop the certification of the Electoral College votes proclaiming the new president. So all these American citizens, overwhelmingly white Donald Trump supporters, attacked one of the most sacred symbols of democracy around the world. Our best intelligence shows that these domestic terrorists were led by anti-government, anti-Semitic, anti-immigrant white nationalists. These same groups and fellow travelers are responsible for thousands of hate crimes every year. The Southern Poverty Law Center and the Anti-Defamation League have been reporting on them for many decades. The FBI has been tracking them since at least the 1980s. In 1984, members of the order assassinated liberal Jewish radio host Alan Berg in Denver. This group was part of a network of white supremacist anti-government hate groups, which included the National Alliance, the White Patriot Party, Aryan Brotherhood, and others. Timothy McVeigh, who was later involved with these groups, murdered 168 men, women, and children in the Oklahoma City bombing in 1995. The sentiment in these groups can be traced back to the post-Civil War era, when the Ku Klux Klan, the Knights of the White Camellia, the White League, and the Red Shirts all used violence and intimidation against African Americans, Jews, and Catholics. Even earlier, there were anti-immigrant groups that advocated against and violently attacked newly arrived Irish Catholic folks and other immigrants. The Klan was knocked out by President Grant's administration in the 1870s, only to come back stronger in the early 1900s, and still exists today, along with the neo-Nazi skinheads and a slew of paranoid conspiracy groups that have blossomed through social media. These newer groups, which include the Proud Boys, the Boogaloo Boys, QAnon, and many similar groups, have found their ally in Donald Trump. Reminiscent of the fascist demagogues of the 1920s and 30s, the practiced president has practiced the big lie over and over. He learned from Lenin and the Bolsheviks and Hitler's propaganda minister, Goebbels, to just say the lie over and over again until some people start to believe it's true. He did it at the beginning of his political career with the Obama birth certificate. He did it with the Russia investigation, and he did it with his attempt to cheat with the Ukraine extortion. Most recently, it was the lie that the election was stolen, that it was a fraud. He built this up in spite of absolutely no evidence of fraud, creating a challenge to our democracy. And he incited a mob while giving cover to anti-government seditionists in a clear attempt to overthrow the democratic process. We'll all see if this enemy of the people, this leader of an insurrection, will be held fully accountable. In the meantime, I want to celebrate the people who have led us through trials and hardship towards where we can be as a nation. I want to celebrate Winona LaDuke and other indigenous activists, Dolores Huerta and Cesar Chavez and Chicano labor activists, Big Bill Haywood and Walter Reuther and other workers' advocates, Susan B. Anthony and Frederick Douglass and Ida B. Wells, and all those who have fought for women's and African American rights. I want to celebrate all of the people from so many walks of life who have worked to save our precious environment. I want to celebrate Dorothy Day and A. Philip Randolph, whose nonviolent activism helped to inspire Martin Luther King Jr. Most of all, I want to celebrate those who have organized and those who have supported the Black Lives Matter and the Me Too movements this year. You are helping make our future a future of love and compassion and freedom and justice that King and so many others have lived for and died for. This is River Smith with a comment for Liberation Brew and Satyagraha Publications.